Delivery refers to that aspect of rhetoric and speaking in general that have to do with our tone, the fluency of our speech, our gestures, sound of our voice, all of those features. Delivery is pretty much what people tend to imagine when they imagine giving a public speech. It's what makes people pretty nervous. However, I think that one of the things that sometimes happens is we overemphasize the importance of delivery by disconnecting it from the importance of the other aspects of speaking. One of the reasons that people have difficulty with delivering messages and giving good speeches is they haven't worked sufficiently on the invention or the arrangement of the speech. Maybe they haven't worked enough on memory. Nevertheless, there's still quite a bit to consider when it comes to delivery. I don't think that there's one good way to deliver a speech. Everyone's bodies and voices are different, and I think that sometimes those differences can add a unique style and flavor to how people deliver certain kinds of speech. However, we're going to look at a few ways in which delivery can come to interfere with the speech that you're giving, and then think about one or two ways of things that you might wish to model in your own speeches. The first thing that might become a difficulty for people to understand you, we can see in the Burger King foot lettuce video.
Number 15, Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus, but as it turns out, that might be what you get. A 4chaner uploaded a photo anonymously to the site showcasing his feet in a plastic bin of lettuce with the statement, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King." Admittedly, he had shoes on, but that's even worse. The post went live at 11:38 p.m. on July 16th, and a mere 20 minutes later, the Burger King in question was alerted to the rogue employee. At least, I hope he's rogue. How did it happen? Well, the BK employee hadn't removed the EXIF data from the uploaded photo, which suggested the culprit was somewhere in Mayfield Heights, Ohio.
That video became a viral sensation, and in a certain way is a success for that YouTuber. They got a lot of views out of that video. But the reason it became a viral success isn't because of anything that they're saying in the video, but only the way that they're saying it. The video is delivered in such a way that because there's so much repetition and there's no variation in it, that it begins to kind of overtake the meaning of the words, and it becomes absurdly funny, or at least that's how many YouTubers reacted, or YouTube commenters reacted to the video. So one thing we want to make sure is that the variation in our intonation is appropriate for the different kinds of meaning in the different sentences. If we always go up at the end of a sentence, or if we always go down, then that's going to start to have a kind of different effect than the message itself would ask for us to have. Now, and the best thing to do is look at examples of people speaking online, and maybe to just tell yourself to do it a little bit more, to vary your intonation more than you would in a conversational setting, where there's a lot of other clues for how people can understand what you're saying. So most of it, again, comes down to practice. But we do want to make sure that we're not falling into a pattern of repeating the same kind of intonation pattern over and over and over again.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Starr County Republican Party Executive Committee, good evening. And thank you not only for your attendance, but for allowing me the opportunity to speak. My name is Phil Davison, and I am seeking our party's nomination for the position of Starr County Treasurer on November 10th. November of 2010, excuse me. In terms of my background, in terms of education, I have a bachelor's degree in sociology, a bachelor's degree in history, a master's degree in public administration, and a master's degree in communication. I have been a Republican in times good, and I have been a Republican in times bad. Albert Einstein issued one of my most favorite quotes in the history of the spoken word, and it is as follows. In the middle of opportunity, excuse me, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. I'm going to repeat that so I have clarity tonight. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. This is the opportunity we've been waiting for. The Starr County Treasurer's Office is a mess. It is in dire need of structure and guidance. And now is the time to seize this opportunity with an aggressive campaign and an even more aggressive campaigner.
Another delivery flaw, as we can see from the Starr County Treasury candidates video, is a lack of fit between the emotion in one's delivery, the tone of one's voice, and the situation that one's in. He appears very aggressive, even when he's simply introducing himself. He starts to yell at the audience, not necessarily out of anger, but it's hard to understand where he's coming from. And so eventually we start to hear people laughing, as they are probably laughing from nervousness, as typically when someone's that enraged, they're talking about something that is enraging and not just telling them that they're running for a relatively low-level position for county government. So the video became, again, a viral sensation because of that clear mismatch, really overstated mismatch between the message and the tone. We don't want to exclusively look at examples of how things go bad. So I think one thing we might look at is Tabitha Brown's videos. Tabitha Brown recently became very popular, mostly on TikTok, for videos in which she shared vegan recipes. Now, I'm not vegan. I'm not even vegetarian, and I find these videos very relaxing. And I think that a lot of other people that are watching that have the same feeling. Her videos are so inviting because of the fact that she's really talented in delivering her message. That it does matter what her message is. And in part of the video, she talks about how veganism seems off-putting to her at first and how it felt very, very judgy. And her method of presenting veganism and the lifestyle of veganism is really inviting. And so it really is part of the persuasive strategy for trying to convince people to try veganism for all of her delivery techniques that she's using.
I done ate squirrel and turtle and Jesus, honey, possum and oh Lord, honey, don't judge me, okay? Hey y'all, I'm Tabitha Brown. I am an actress and I'm a vegan food influencer. I've been vegan for 2.5 years. On a personal note, veganism means a healthier life, a happier life, a cruelty-free life. I used to think of veganism, when I would hear about it, I would say, oh, people who do that, honestly, God, truth, I thought only white people did it. I was like, I had never met another black vegan. When I was young, I would hear about it and be like, I think as I got a little bit older, I used to think, oh, it's for hardcore animal activists. As I got more well-traveled, I started thinking, oh, veganism is actually kind of for the cool kids. But then I also would think it's kind of judgy. Sometimes a little bit afraid of it, to be honest. So that's how I grew up, because my great-granddaddy would hunt, and then I would go to his house, and, you know, he would take me to farms and stuff, and I would eat whatever. That's how I grew up. Comfort food, to me, is whatever feels good going in, and while it's in, it still feels good. Like, you still feel full, and you have a good feeling about yourself. Macaroni and cheese is a good comfort food. Favorite non-vegan meals, baby, seafood. A good old crab leg. Oh, a lobster tail. Come on, shrimp. Dip it in the butter. Dip it in the butter. Ooh, and garlic. That's my guilty pleasure. That good old seafood. Just, That's how I have to eat it now. But I found lobster mushrooms, and baby, seasoned right, they do the trick.
She's also trained as an actress, and she's very talented, clearly, in being in front of a camera. But we can look at some of the things that she's doing in these videos to help us think about what a good delivery looks like. And I would say better than these lecture videos for webcam or video presentations. One of the things that you'll notice is that Tabitha Brown doesn't do what I'm doing right now, which is making eye contact with the camera 100% of the time. She looks away. She considers other things. In fact, she's often kind of looking outside of the frame of the camera, so it doesn't feel like it's totally trained on you. It feels more casual in that sense. That's one really good tip for thinking about eye contact that I'm going to try to incorporate a little bit more into these videos. Maybe look away once in a while. So that goes against a lot of the advice that you've probably heard, which is that you want to maintain eye contact 100% of the time. That often comes from speaking situations in which people are trying to be told not to look down at their notes all the time. Looking down, that's not going to make the audience feel closer to you. But in a casual and natural style of speaking, we often don't directly stare into the eyes of the person that we're speaking to 100% of the time. So another thing that she really does very well, I think, is that she tends to modulate her voice into different tones and almost into different personas as she's telling a story. So sometimes she'll start talking like that, almost taking on other characters and being like, oh, I wasn't sure about that. Or, wow, I was really surprised. So in narrating a story, the emotion of the person in the story is reflected in her voice. So, which is a really good strategy for when you're narrating something, that you don't just leave it all at one level. And we're going to work on that in one of our assignments when we do the story of a feeling, of how to vary an emotion in such a way that the audience is moved through those different emotions. Obviously, there's also a lot of other features we could look at in these videos, and there's professional editing, which certainly helps. At the same time, I think if you look at these videos and notice some of her techniques, you're also going to feel like, hey, I can't do that. That's not my style. And so I'll leave it to Tabitha to reflect on that.
I always tell people, don't be hard on yourself. Make sure you know your why. If your why is true to you, it keeps you focused. It keeps you going. But if you happen to slip up, don't beat yourself up over it. Relax. It's okay. Honey, it's day by day. Honey, that's your business. As long as you can admit it and be real with yourself and know that you had a moment, but you back on track, have your moment and get back on track. I always tell people, listen to your body. Whatever feels right for you, you do that. That's your business. It feels right for me, so I'll continue to do it for me. That's all I can really say about that.
Everyone has their own style. The kinds of things that you normally do in your speech can actually become style. One thing that really helped me when I was young, I was really into drawing and drawing cartoons. And I was really bad at drawing hands. One of the people that I was watching at the time on TV about how to draw cartoons said, hey, if you can't draw hands, guess what? That's part of your style. Your style is no-handed characters. So thinking about things that you typically see as errors and trying to make them choices is one of the ways to develop a unique and personal delivery style for your speeches. It means almost stylizing the features of your own voice, your presentation, your gestures, so that they become your own. everyone has their own style. The kinds of things that you normally do in your speech can actually become style. One thing that really helped me when I was young, I was really into drawing and drawing cartoons. And I was really bad at drawing hands. One of the people that I was watching at the time on TV about how to draw cartoons said, hey, if you can't draw hands, guess what? That's part of your style. Your style is no-handed characters. So thinking about things that you typically see as errors and trying to make them choices is one of the ways to develop a unique and personal delivery style for your speeches. It means almost stylizing the features of your own voice, your presentation, your gestures, so that they become your own. So again, there's not a single good way to do delivery. There are things that we want to avoid that will take away and detract from our message, because it will be hard to understand what we're saying if we deliver it in that way. But there's not one kind of body or one kind of way to move or sound that is correct. As long as you're clearly making a choice about how your delivery is going to come across to an audience, then you're making a choice that will allow us to talk through various aspects of delivery. I encourage you to make choices with your delivery, and the stronger the choices that you're making, the clearer it will be for us to have a conversation about it. So feel free to experiment and try out new things.